Good afternoon. Can you all hear me okay? Great. Good afternoon, President Payno, Mrs. Payno, ladies and gentlemen, students and faculty. I'm Suzanne Augugliaro Silitch. I'm so very honored to be here today at this, my first scholarship donor luncheon. And I'd especially like to thank Dorian LeMasters, who took my call when I was calling Mary Washington. She extended the invitation to me to be here today, and Donna Harder, too. I was the recipient, as Benjamin said, of the Barbara Diane Hall Memorial Scholarship. I was an artist, and this scholarship was pure magic. It allowed me to go into the local art supply store and take whatever I needed. Okay, well, not exactly, but it felt like that. It was really amazing. It was a special gift, one that allowed me to pursue an art degree without really worrying about the cost of art supplies. And when you're studying art, paint, brushes, paper, and canvas, they become as expensive as books, and really important because you can't actually make art without those things. So I had the opportunity to thank Ms. Dorothy Bonnet. She's the woman who started the scholarship that I benefited from, for this fantastic gift. But I blew off the luncheon. Yep, I didn't get to thank her. And I lost the chance to learn about the granddaughter that she loved, Barbara Diane Hall, an aspiring artist like me who wanted to attend Mary Washington, but sadly, she died before she could attend. So I have to tell you that this is one of the hardest talks that I've ever had to prepare. I'm the communications director at Virginia Commonwealth University School of the Arts, and I write the strategic messaging for the school. So essentially, you know, the letter that the president sends out at the beginning of every semester, or the thing that goes in the commencement speech from the president, yeah, that's me. I've worked for 17 years in higher education, and I'm pretty comfortable talking about first-generation college students and the power of giving. But this is hard, because this is really personal to me. And it's about regret and the importance of giving thanks early and often. So important, in fact, that a quarter of a century later, I felt compelled to call my alma mater to see if I could track down my donor and write her a thank you letter. But unfortunately, Ms. Bonnet passed away in 2010. So my being here today is my thank you note. I want to explain to you why I blew off the luncheon back in 1994. And I don't want to sugarcoat it. I didn't miss it. I wasn't sick. When my art professor, Steve Griffin, tried to convince me to go, my 19-year-old self said, "I'm too busy. Why would I want to go to that fancy luncheon?" I know, can you believe it? Like, look at how nice this is. Why would I want to miss this? But the truth of the matter was that I was terrified of a fancy luncheon. So my parents moved from Brooklyn to Long Island when I was a kid. They grew up in Bushwick, which was a really rough place, even though now it's voted one of the 12 best places to live in by Jet Setter, but it wasn't then. At the time, the mafia was a real thing, and they held meetings in the back of my grandpa's store. It was a little bodega, and there was a lot of violence and crime. In fact, my grandmother was stabbed on the way to visit her sister, my great Aunt Mary, in the hospital. But don't worry, she was okay. She lived another 40 years after that. So, but my parents wanted to give me and my sister a better life, and they did. Even though my parents couldn't go to college, they always told me that I could go. Not that I would go, but that I could. You see, as the expression goes, my parents didn't have two nickels to rub together to make a dime. My dad was a bus mechanic. Even after my parents moved from Brooklyn to Long Island, he would commute back and forth into the city, leaving the house at 5 a.m. every morning, 50 miles into the city, 50 miles back. And he'd work 8 hours, and sometimes the traffic would be so bad he would miss dinner. And dinner in my house growing up was pretty much what you'd expect people who descended from Sicilian peasants to eat. It was escarole and beans, squash soup, pasta fagioli, basically any bean you could mix with pasta. My mom called them 25-cent meals, because at this time, that was the price of a can of beans. And when my dad got injured at work, my mom took a job in my elementary school and then later my high school as the lunch lady. She served food to my friends and she washed dishes. So we didn't eat out at restaurants. In fact, we never ate out at all. And the invitation to a fancy luncheon became impossible for me. I couldn't accept it because I didn't know how to hold a fork properly. And really, seriously, I still don't. And I hadn't learned the B and the D trick. Do you guys know that? Bread and drink. I don't know. If not, I'll show you later. It's great. So I couldn't go to this luncheon because I didn't want to be embarrassed. So I didn't show up. And I really regret that. I regret that I let my fear hold me back. And I regret that I never got to know my donor, Miss Bonnet, and hear about her wonderful granddaughter. So to all of the students who have joined us today, thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for getting to know your donors better. I hope you'll keep in touch with them and let them know about all of the wonderful successes you have in life. And on behalf of the students who have missed their scholarship luncheons, to you, the donors, I'm here. I finally showed up, 25 years late, to say thank you. Thank you for your generosity of money and time and spirit. Thank you for the part you play in making our dreams a reality. I couldn't have done it without you.